What are we going to stay focused on? One, education, we already talked about it. And it has to be a system. In Indiana, we see education as silos. There's childcare, there's universal pre-K that we don't have, there's K-12, and there's post-high school. And we see that in silos. And goodness sakes, God forbid if we would have a conversation across those silos. We tried when we were in office. It only made sense to us. Why would we not have a conversation with childcare providers and preschool providers in K-12? We've got kids coming to kindergarten that aren't potty trained. We have kids coming to kindergarten that don't know their letters from their numbers from their shapes. We have kids coming to kindergarten that you're like, what's your name? And they just look at you. I've been in those meetings. I've been in those schools. I've talked to those teachers. We're at that point because we have no early services. And the ones who do have access to early services look a lot like me. They're white, they're middle class, and they have their way to resources. Those are the kids that are showing up in an advantage. And that disparity between our students of color is growing and growing and growing. And that is growing because of policy. It is growing because of policy. And it can change with good policy. But right now, we've got work to do. So education's got to be one of the forefront. In that education space, I would be remiss not to say we have got to take care of our teachers. We cannot survive as a state if we don't have teachers. If we don't have teachers, we become an uneducated Mississippi of the North. We have got to have teachers. We still have so many openings. And I'm going to tell you, if you have grandkids, your neighbors, your own children, my child is 25 years old. He had a great experience, K-12 and post-high school, and he's still learning. But he was fortunate. He had great teachers, the whole system. Now you go into schools and they're like, we don't have a third grade teacher this year, so we just have someone filling in. I'm like, you somebody? And that's the year you're really transitioning from reading, decoding, and all that good stuff to comprehension. That, my friends, is not easy. There are so many stories. They're like, well, we don't have a calculus teacher anymore, so we just have a sub. And then you talk to the sub, and they're like, oh, I never took calculus. And, you can't get upset with the sub because they were put in a situation because the schools have no other person to put in there. That's where we're at. We have to take care of teachers. Stop the rhetoric that all the teachers are groomers. Stop the rhetoric that we're hiding our pornography. Stop the rhetoric that we're worthless. That's got to stop. It's got to stop. And the governor should stand up and say, not here in Indiana. Not here in Indiana. We are not playing that game enough. We respect our teachers. We need our teachers. And we need to take care of our teachers. We need someone to stand up and say it. If not, we are still going to go down the path that we're going down that is dangerous.